we'll cycle through the mountains of Gunma and Tochigi, meeting people living the traditional way, close to nature. We'll visit 2 World Heritage Sites. The first is Tomioka Silk Mill, a landmark in the modernization of Japanese industry. Close by this monument to industrial history, we'll see silk made the traditional way, by hand. We'll visit Nikko Toshogu Shrine, nestling deep in a mountain forest. Lovingly restored and repaired throughout the ages, the art on these incredible buildings shines as brightly as it did 400 years ago. We'll meet the people who work in these forests, people still in touch with the old ways of nature. A 260-kilometer journey deep into the autumn mountains of Japan. Join us on a cycle ride no one has taken before. It's still before dawn outside Tokyo Station, where our traveler is getting ready to set off on his trip.
Okay, ready to go.
Born in Colorado, Michael Rice has been living in Japan for 25 years. Michael works for a bicycle manufacturer, and he's made cycle trips all over Japan.
So today we're leaving from Tokyo Station, taking the Shinkansen bullet train, going up into the mountains. It's only about an hour from Tokyo.
In under an hour, the Shinkansen will carry him to the start of his ride, Takasaki City in Gunma. His 260-kilometer route will take him to 2 World Heritage Sites. After Tomioka Silk Mill in Gunma, he'll ride over the mountains to Nikko Toshogu Shrine in Tochigi. And on his final day, he'll check out the autumn scenery on the Itohazaka Road to Okuniko. Michael has arrived at Takasaki. For this trip, he's chosen an ultra-light road bike that weighs just 6.5 kilos.
That's how light it is. The reason is because we're going to be in the mountains doing lots of climbing. So I love climbing, and especially on a lightweight bike, it's a lot more fun. So that's why I chose this bike for today.
It will be very cold on the mountain roads, so he's brought a warm jacket and gloves. He's also carrying a small repair kit, just in case. All his gear fits into this hip bag.
The saddle is supporting the bag, and so my body is not supporting the weight. So all of the weight just comes right here on the saddle. And so my arms are very, very light. And so for me, this is the most convenient. Japan has very clear 4 seasons, but my favorite for cycling is the fall. It's usually the driest time of year. It's when we have the clearest skies. It's when you can see the mountains farthest in the distance and explore the history of Japan, along with the modern culture and the ancient culture. What are these? It looks like Daruma.
Daruma dolls are used all over Japan when making a wish or praying for something.
So I guess their wish is that people will not have traffic accidents.
Now he starts seeing Daruma dolls all along the road.
There's a big one. This is the biggest one I've seen so far. I think I'm going to stop and take a look here.
It's the sign for a temple that's named after Daruma.
Oh, wow. This temple's full of Darumas. I don't think I've ever seen so many before.
Daruma is the Japanese name for the famous Buddhist monk Bodhidharma. Bodhidharma traveled from India to China, where he founded Zen Buddhism.
どうしてこんなにだるまが集まってるんですか？
願いが叶ったもの叶わなくても、
はい、
だいたい1年経つとここにお返ししてこちらで供養してまた土に戻していくようになります。
そうやっぱり自転車で走ってて道沿いとかにだるまが出てきたり、
そうですね。この高崎が非常にだるまの中心地になってます。はい。
It started about 230 years ago, when a drought caused crops to fail. The head monk of this temple taught local farmers how to make daruma dolls so they could sell them instead. The industry grew, and Takasaki became Japan's main center for making these dolls. Michael decides to post a wish at the temple.
Okay, for a safe and fruitful journey. Okay, here goes my daruma. Okay, may my wish come true. Thank you, Daruma-san. Oh, wow, the road goes into this big building.
Tomioka's streets are filled with tourists drawn by the city's World Heritage Site.
They have it all in English. Wow, it's historic buildings. It's all Western style brick building.
Tomioka Silk Mill became a World Heritage in 2014. The buildings are a beautiful combination of Japanese-style tile roofs and Western-style brick walls. This modern mill was unprecedented in size for its time. Built in 1872, as Japan modernized with Western technology, this huge mill set a new standard for Japan's silk industry. The mill was a vital source of foreign currency, employing young women workers from all over Japan. These manual jobs would disappear when the mill mechanized. The Tomioka Mill remained in operation until 1987, a major pillar of Japan's silk industry.
Yeah, I can kind of understand why this is a World Heritage Site. There's probably no place else in the world this old, this big, for producing silk. Yeah.
In the heyday of the silk industry, Tomioka was a thriving town. Michael spots an old meat shop, obviously dating back to those days. This sign catches his eye. Korokke are a Japanese version of the French croquette, invented about 100 years ago. A round patty of mashed potato is fried in breadcrumb batter. The mill girls of Tomioka love to eat this snack on their way home from work.
はいどうぞすいませんですね。
はい、ありがとうございます。
工場さんが食べてる時のままです。うちのこのコロッケは全然変えてないです。
美味しい。70年前と変わらない味。本当にこの光景で歴史を感じますね。
A tasty reminder of the good old days. The silk mill was built in Tomioka because it had a thriving silkworm industry, pure water, and space for a large factory.
That's an interesting building. Look at the roof of that and the paper windows. Ah, they have, it looks like silk strings hanging out front. ごめんください。こんにちは。ここでもしかしてシルクを作ってるんですか？
あ、はい、そうです。
Nobue Higashi produces silk thread using the traditional method. This house was built about 100 years ago to raise silkworms. Higashi rented it to revive the old business. The silkworms are raised on the upper floor, where a high ceiling and paper windows provide lots of light and air. The cocoon made by the silkworm larva is the raw material for silk. Higashi does everything by hand, rearing the worms and spinning the silk. Higashi was a weaver in Kyoto, but she was so attracted by the texture of handmade Gunma silk that she moved here to live.
柔らかいふわふわしてるものかなと思ったけど結構硬いですね。はい。そして中に虫が入って死んでるのはびっくりですね。
Higashi shows him how she makes the silk. To make the silk filaments come off easily, she first dunks the cocoons in hot water for 5 minutes. She then brushes them gently with a straw brush to separate the fine filaments from the cocoons.
おー、
はい。
すごい。本当に糸ですね。
糸ですね。で、
あ、すごい。
ゆっくり。
Now she spins the filaments into silk thread using a hand reeling machine. All silk was made this way before mechanization.
すごい。もうずっと手でやるかなと思って。
You simply turn the handle, and the fine filaments from the cocoons are wound into silk thread.
すごい。
Michael is surprised that silk is obtained from nature like this.
そしてもう自然に集まってくるんですね。It's a lot of work to make silk strings, but it's a beautiful job.
After the protein is removed from the raw silk, it shines with a special luster.
工場では作れない
あー、はい。
ものなん
あ
です。、
工場だとパーフェクトみたいな
はい
感じで、
綺麗な
はい
糸、
全部同じになるんですけど、自然の、自然の感じが出る方がいい。
はい。綺麗なものを作り出すことが自分で仕事にできていることがとても楽しいし嬉しいです。
はい。
Traditional silk making skills, still alive and well in Tomioka. Leaving Tomioka, Michael heads towards his destination for the night. He must climb 400 meters to reach Ikaho Onsen. Mount Haruna is an old volcano. There are hot springs all around the foot of the mountain.
Welcome to Ikaho, both directions. I have arrived. This is Ikaho Onsen.
Ikaho is perhaps Gunma's best-known hot spring resort. It's mentioned in poems written over 1,000 years ago. 365 stone steps run up the hill through the center of town. A hot spring at the top supplies water to all the town's lodgings.
This is it.
About halfway up the steps, Michael spots the sign for the ryokan where he'll stay the night.
Wow, Yeah, this is Japan. Very Japanese.
His destination is Ikaho's leading onsen ryokan, established 500 years ago.
I love the smell of a tatami room. This is great. Yeah, I love the Japanese style. The wood and the clay walls, the paper windows, sliding doors.
Michael puts on the yukata provided and heads off down the corridor. Ikaho's spring water is famous. Its yellowish-brown color comes from the many minerals it contains.
It absorbs through the skin and helps to get rid of the tiredness and sore muscles. It just, yeah, it feels really good. Nice. Doesn't get much better than this.
A soothing bath and a good night's rest to prepare for tomorrow's ride. Leaving Ikaho, Michael now rides east. He'll pass through the foothills of Mount Akagi, one of Japan's most beautiful mountains, on the way to Kiryu. He's chosen this local road for its gentle inclines and light traffic. After a 2 hours ride, Michael arrives at the town of Kiryu.
Konnichiwa. Oh, there's a big gate here. It says Jingu, so I guess it's a shrine.
Tori gates like this mark a shrine entrance. Michael decides to take a break and have a look.
Konnichiwa. はい。何をやってるんですか？七五三。
3歳のお祝い、成長のお祝い。
ああ、はい。3歳になりましたか？
はい。こんにちは。
すごい可愛い着物。
Shichigo-san is an autumn tradition. A family with children aged 7, 5, or 3 will take them to the local shrine or temple to pray for good health. The boys and girls dress up in traditional formal kimono.
これは私が3歳の時に着た着物。
本当？ああ、すごい。
私のおばあちゃんとかおじいちゃんが買ってくれたみたいですね。
ああ、はい。
はい。
そして孫さんね。
かもしれないですね。
An autumn custom where parents show their love for their children.
Ah, really beautiful road. I love the colors here. The fall colors are amazing. Look at the color. These red leaves are amazing. As I get higher up in the mountains, yeah, it's more and more beautiful. This climbing is a lot of work, but it's worth it to see all this. And the leaves up here. Ah, beautiful. Gotta get there before dark, but I want to stay here forever. So nice. Ah, and then there's a road over here. I think I'll try this way. A rocky road.
This is the great thing about touring by bicycle. You can decide to explore side roads anytime you feel like it.
Here's a torii gate. Wow, it looks like an old one. Time to explore.
Beyond the gate, he finds himself in an open space.
Wow. There's something different here. I can feel the energy. I don't know, it must be some kind of religious place. Wow. The sound goes through the forest. Yeah, I can't hear anything except the stream that was back there. Other than that, it's perfect silence.
While Michael was exploring the mysterious spot in the woods, it started to get dark. Now he must hurry to reach his destination before the light goes.
There's a torii, a gate.
Since very ancient times, mountain worshippers have considered Furumine Shrine to be a sacred site. Michael will spend the night in a lodging originally built for pilgrims. The walls of the corridor are lined with strange masks.
すごい。
ここは天狗の間という名前もついてましてですね。
天狗の間。
はい。
天狗は神。
天狗様は神様のお使いという形で信仰されてました。
Tengu are said to wear white monks' robes, grow wings on their backs, and have special powers as messengers from the gods. The shrine is popular with believers in the Tengu, and they leave these masks as offerings.
天狗というのはやっぱり日本全国
そういう山岳信仰って言って山で
やっぱり山のそのさっき言った場所に行ったらすごいパワーを感じたんですけど、
あそこは巴の宿という名前がついているところなんですけども、ああいう場所でお坊さんたちが何ヶ月も何年も修行をするっていう、だから本当に山木石みんなそうですよね、で神格化されて崇められてるんですね、
はい、紙が入ってて、
そういうところで修行するっていう方が多かった。
はい。Some really amazing things. I think it's beautiful the way that Shinto believes that there are gods in all of the things, especially in the mountains, and that's, I think, one reason why the Japanese people really value the mountains and take care of them.
This shrine has space for as many as 350 people to stay. Traveling sometimes for days, believers come from all over Japan to worship at this sacred mountain. For dinner, Michael is served Shinsen cuisine. This consists of food that has been offered to the gods. Eating such a meal is believed to purify the body. Omiki is sacred sake, consecrated to the gods. You drink it before the meal to purify your mouth.
Very good. It has a sweet, mild flavor to it.
Kenchin jiru soup, made with local vegetables brought to the shrine as offerings.
Ah, wow, that's very good, especially after the cold ride. After coming down the mountain, that's perfect. This food is all natural, and it's all comes from the gods. And so even if it's something very simple, then you still call it a feast, a gochiso, a feast. And so you thank for the feast that you received. So this is my bedroom tonight. Never imagined I'd be staying in a room like this. I wonder what kind of dreams I'm going to have tonight after everything I saw today, and then sleeping with Tengu watching over me. Konnichiwa. Konnichiwa. これは食べれる牡蠣ですか？
これはね、渋柿だからね。
渋柿。
食べれない。
食べれないですか？ああ。
渋いよ。食べてもいいけど渋い。
あ、何をしてるんですか？
これ今彫刻の材料を整理してる。
彫刻の材料。
うちでこれを彫って彫刻してる。ここで作ってる。
見せていただけますか？
いいですよ。
Takao Kurosaki has been carving and restoring wood sculptures for 30 years. This carving will form part of a highly decorated float used in the local Kanuma festival. In the 17th century, the best carpenters and woodcarvers from all over Japan were brought to Kanuma to work on the Nikko Toshogu Shrine. The town is still famous for its woodworkers. As a child, Kurosaki was strongly attracted by the carved festival float. At age 23, he gave up his job to train as a woodcarver.
手作業でもう一叩き一叩きにすごい意味があって、すごい素晴らしい仕事だと思います。どういう時にやりがいを感じるんですか？
のみを打ってる、彫ってる時っていうのは、 頭の中にそのことしかなくなっちゃうから、余計なこと考えないで済むので、その時が多分一番気持ちがいいのかもしれない。
ああ、瞑想状態に、
多分そう、瞑想と同じような状態になっちゃうんだと思うんですけど、この木に任せるというか、そういうところは非常に楽しいところでしょうね。
Kurosaki shows some work he's especially proud of. He restored this piece from Nikko Toshogu Shrine that got broken up by a storm last year. It was a hard and delicate job. He had to trace the grain in each fragment to fit them back together.
東照宮に行けば出来上がったものが見られます。
いや、見に行きます。
見つけてみてください。
Looking forward to seeing Kurosaki's work, Michael continues on toward the shrine. The entrance to Niko City is marked by an avenue of cedars. This is the start of the Sando, the road leading up to the shrine.
The road is perfectly smooth, and these trees. Wow, it must go, I don't know, 6 stories, 10 stories high? This is refreshing. Very refreshing.
This avenue of cedars was planted when the Nikko Toshogu Shrine was being constructed. Some of the trees are 380 years old. About 37 kilometers long, this wooded avenue makes an impressive approach to the sacred site.
There's like a crane car here, truck.
One of the trees has been struck by lightning, so they are cutting it down to keep the road safe.
There's a man up there. Oh my God, there's a man up there. Oh, hold on, man, hold on. For dear life. Wow.
Tsurushigiri is a special forester's technique. When it's too dangerous to fell a tree from the base, they cut it down section by section from the top. First, the top of the tree is secured by wires hanging from the crane. Holding on to the trunk by a lifeline and his spiked shoes, the forester cuts off a section at a time.
This is the most difficult way I've ever seen to cut down a tree. Wow. こんにちは。仕事中すみません。いくつですか？75歳。75歳ですか？で、この仕事やってる。はい。信じられない。
Suguru Waki has been cutting trees this way for 50 years. He's one of the very few people allowed to cut the cypresses along this road.
伐採っていうのは、木の最後じゃないんですね。これから建築材としてまた何十年何百年という長い木の一生がまだ残っている。
じゃあ木が雷で木が死んでもそれをすごい大事にして、
今度は建築材の中に生きているわけです。
日本らしい考え方です。すべてすごい大事にして、全部再利用、木を大事にしてるからこそこの仕事をやるんですね。素敵な仕事ですね。
An encounter with a protector of the forest, a man who gives new life to the trees.
Whoa, look at there's a pagoda up there. It's behind the trees. See that pagoda?
Michael is now very close to the Toshogu Shrine.
I can really feel the history here. It's just in the air. You can feel that this is such an important historic location in Japan. I've arrived in Niko. In the front, the main gate, that's just so massive. Beautiful.
The Nikko Toshogu Shrine, built about 400 years ago, is dedicated to Tokugawa Ieyasu, the founder of the Tokugawa shogunate. The shrine played an important role, providing spiritual protection for the capital. Most of these structures were built and decorated in the 17th century by the best craftsmen and artists Japan had to offer. That's why it is such a priceless artistic treasure house.
I want to find the piece that Kurosaki-san said that he helped to fix, the part that fell down and was broken into pieces. He said it's in this area. Ah, that's it, the one with the dragon. Yeah, the left has a bird and the right one with the dragon. That's the one that...
Kurosaki's restored carving is mounted over the sacred water basin where pilgrims purify themselves. The continuing need for craftsmen to restore and repair the Toshogu Shrine ensured these old techniques were passed down through the centuries.
It doesn't look like it's ever been taken away from that spot. This is, yeah, such an important job that he's doing. Wow. It's just incredible seeing all of the carvings here, seeing all of the things that they made with the wood, and seeing that even when they were building the buildings, they built them around the forest. And they made the trees the most important thing and built the temples around that. It's just, yeah, it makes me love Japan even more. This is curve number 6. Curve number 19.
And here is his goal, the observation point at the top. It's 1,274 meters high.
Ah, I made it.
The sacred peak of Mount Nantai, and beside it Lake Chuzenji, formed when this ancient volcano erupted. The scenery of Okuniko looks like a carefully arranged Japanese garden, but it's all nature's work. The 97-meter-high Kegon Falls are one of Japan's most beautiful waterfalls.
It's a great climb and a great trip. And so that's something that really captured my attention on this trip. I've lived here a long time, and I've seen lots of things done by machines, but there's still so many people in Japan who love doing things the traditional way and love using their hands. The silk and the way that they make the silk by hand, and just even things like with the trees, the way that they cut down the trees up at the top of the tree, cutting it by hand. He had his chainsaw. I saw the man who chisels the wood to make the incredible wood carvings. Not just cycling, but whatever I do, I want to try to put your heart and soul into what you're doing. And so that's something I really want to learn and bring to myself from this experience.
On his 260-kilometer trip through the mountains and forests, Michael met people with deep respect for the power of nature and was touched by the generous spirit of old